Hey guys, this is Comic Ken, and a while back a viewer asked me about how I go about laying out pages for my comic. And since I am just off of a 8-hour session of laying out chapter 3 of my latest webcomic, Saintly, I thought I would use this opportunity while I'm fresh in that mode, fresh out of that activity, to tell you about my whole process of laying out chapter 3 of Saintly. So let's get into it. Actually, usually before I get into a layout session, I like to flip through my favorite manga and comics and saturate my mind with the ideas from stories that I'm using as inspiration for Saintly and how I want to approach it. I'm not actually pulling anything directly from these stories, but flipping through them just helps me get into that mode and figure out different approaches before I even need them. Once I feel like my mind is saturated, I basically just get started. So these are the first 3 pages of Saintly number 3. And Saintly number 3 is different in that this chapter was actually the shortest amount of time I've ever written a chapter in. Both chapters 1 and 2, I had basically planned out or thought about months in advance before coming to chapter 3. So with Saintly, the graphic novel, I've had all chapters basically planned out from the very beginning, and the general idea of what happens in each chapter is in that outline. So I basically know what happens in each chapter, and the page by page action of how to get to each event is what I come to when I actually do the final chapter. So chapter 1 took 8 months to do. Chapter 2 took just about a month to do. So I already had chapter 2 written and planned out, thought about, all that stuff for a long time. So I didn't really need to do that much editing behind it. But with chapter 3, it is actually, I've gotten the basic details of it figured out a long time ago. But the moment by moment stuff is where I had the most trouble in this chapter because I was doing it so quickly. So before I even get to this stage where I'm writing down and putting the panels on the page, I write my script, and that is basically here. I don't want to show you all the details of that, but yeah, I'll write down the whole script. It's 20 pages, and basically I have a general, after having done so many comics, I have a general gist of how many words or how many pages it would take to write out a 20-page script, so I can kind of fit in the information that I need in that time frame. And then I will do this, where I will take the information from the script and divide it between all 20 pages to see where each page begins and ends. So I know what happens on page 1 because I know the beginning and the ending of page 1. Then page 2 will have a different beginning and ending. And if I know what events take place on each page, it helps me decide what should happen on the actual layout when I get to this stage. So I'll write down different notes of, okay, what happens at the beginning of the page, what happens at the end, what happens at the beginning, at the end, and then I'll write all that down, and then I will submit the script to my writing group and to my editor, and they'll give me feedback on the script, so that I haven't done, by this stage, I haven't done nearly any amount of like really strenuous work. Like if I were to go straight from my mind to a full comic page, that would be doing too much. But at this point, I'm just doing thumbnails and getting the idea of what happens on every page. And so then once I get the feedback from my group, I'll like during that time I'll even be like reading notes of the story, like the lore and what happens in each chapter, like what happens in like how the power system works, that kind of thing, so that I know how I should be laying things out over time. And so then once I get the feedback, I'll go in and we've gotten like to a good place in the layout stage. I will start drawing the actual pages. And the thing about this is that this is as close as possible as how the actual page will look when I draw it in real life. Like when I finally put the work down on the page, this is about as close as it's going to look in terms of the division of panels, the words and information that's on there. That is going to be basically how it's going to look. Like that's why it takes so much brain power to do this step, which I just completed today, because I have to use my full mind. It's almost like doing the actual comic. Like once this is done, the actual comic is basically done, and I'm just doing the grunt work by actually drawing it on the page. Like actually drawing the comic is just the grunt work that I already completed the main stuff by doing this. And then doing the comic is just grunt work, because I can listen to a podcast, I could do whatever doing this stage, because the hard, most difficult work took place while I was drawing the layouts. It's deciding a lot of the story. It's deciding the next brick that's going to be in the canon of the story. So it's like you can't mess that up, and you have to think about everything that's going to happen in the future of the story, everything that happened in the past, and not contradict yourself, and think about how to make the events flow with one another, so that it's an easy read, a good time. And even this won't be the exact final version of what I put down on the page. I'm gonna edit it and change it so that the panels flow better on the actual page. So that is how that is created. And things that I'll look at during that process is this is like a list of all of my writing notes that I've taken over the years, and this is actually not the most comprehensive list. I have a writing toolbox. It's a document on Google Docs, and so far it is, let me see if we can get a page count on it, 109 pages. And I will basically scroll through that and make sure that every base is covered in the script, so that I'm not having to go back and I'm missing something. Like this entire document is just full of notes that I've taken from, like, the best of the best notes that I've taken from my favorite books of writing. Like, it's just all the notes, like YouTube videos that I've watched. You know, we got the Dan Harmon story circle in there, just full of notes that I'm making sure like all my bases are covered. We got story grid in there, all that stuff. And I just scroll through that, make sure everything is there. I'll scroll through the Saintly documents, which is just a vomit draft. Like, it's not even a draft, it's where I put every bit of story, lore, and ideas that come to my mind. I just throw it on that document and read through it occasionally, so I remember what happens in the story, or remember good ideas that I've posted in the story. So that's what I bring to this final like layout stage, where I'm just thinking like, okay, so how is this character emoting? What are they feeling in this moment? I'm bringing my edits from my editor, from my friends, all that stuff, and then I'll put it down on this page, and then I'll literally just sit there until the work is done. I didn't really even think about the time passing as I was doing it. Let me 1 second. I kept kind of a log of the time that this took. So for the layouts, let me see. I was about to have jury duty this morning, and then they said service complete, and then they sent me home, so I didn't have to go to jury duty. And then I came home around 10, and I tried to start working, but then I was really sleepy after eating breakfast, and then I just fell asleep until like 12:30, and then I was just like, all right, now I can work. And then I started working, and I just started going from 12:30 to 3:25, and then I had to pick up my brother from work. Came back around 4:11, and then kept working until 6, which is when I took a little break. And then from 6 to 8:35, and 8:35 was when I finished the layouts for 20 pages of Saintly. So what I'm gonna do now is do the final edits on the layouts, and then send them over to my editor and my my group, and then we'll discuss these new layouts so that I can get started on the pages, and then draw like hell for the next 5 or 6 days. I'm gonna try to do the same thing that I did with chapter 2, and see if I can accomplish the same thing with a more drawing intense chapter, because there's more backgrounds on this one than there was on the last scene. So I'm gonna see what I can do in a week and try to get it done. So yeah, that's basically my whole layout process from beginning to end. Writing the script is the most important thing first, and then you can go to a more basic layout where you just decide what happens at the beginning and end of each page, and where are the characters positioned in the story. And then after that is approved, you can go to the actual layout stage where you decide what's going to be the more finalized version of the story that you'll be putting down on your comic board. And that is it. I hope this helps somebody who is trying to lay out their comic. And if you want further details and a closer look at the comic that I'm working on, it's actually my latest webcomic called Saintly. It is a demon chase horror action comedy about two best friends who have to outrun the demon loan sharks that they borrowed from. Basically, it's like Scooby-Doo meets K-pop Demon Hunters without the K-pop. And the story backs the main character into a corner where she has to decide between the hard path to success or lose her soul to the lure of easy money. And we get to see the ramifications of her choice, and if she can hide this deal with the devil from her friend, or if it will tear them apart. And I hope you read my comic in the description and check out the story. It should appear in your email inbox or your spam folder if you don't see it. And I've been working on it for over a year now, and I'm currently on chapter 3. And yeah, I'll just be seeing if I can get chapter 3 done in the same amount of time as chapter 2, or even sooner if possible, but we'll see. So thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.